Hello everyone and welcome here to League of Europe Division 4 here for Season X 10, how you want to call it. And we're here at the Chinese Grand Prix Shanghai International Circuit. A bit of a delay as the lobby decided to glitch out, thanks Codemasters for that. But we are here with a full grid and we're going to see how this session is going to go. I'm just going to grab the standings. It's obviously just going to be the results from last week. With NRT Joe Victor winning it the last time out and getting the fastest lap, so he is on 26 points. But as a late notice non-attendance, he'll get some license points for that. He is not here tonight, so it's a prime opportunity for everyone else to capitalize. Kevin Cal finished second, ahead of Major Falcon in third in that race in Australia. With Energetics and Bosnia running out the top 5, then James in 6th, Goshike in 7th, Swip in 8th, Steban in 9th, Ultimate Mr. Burrow in 10th, Car Cannon's return in P11, and Ibo picking up one final point. We're gonna have a look how this is gonna go down in towards China here. Round 2. Is it gonna be a dry or wet race? It's just me here tonight. Can find a guest. Hopefully for next time out we can. And yeah, full grid. It looks dry all here. At least in the qualifying session. We'll have to see about the race later on. So I'm just gonna check the Discord to see people reacting to the weather. Usually that's yeah. Seeing Jazz seeing rain in the race. So this could be a very interesting one. It will show some different qualities from different drivers. And it might expose some drivers as well. So definitely opportunities for the lesser here. Got a new few additions here as well to the league. I'm just checking for people who weren't here last week, but are here this week. But I don't think there's any that are new. So we're just gonna move on to Flip Namtram. Actually at the top of the table. He is in the Alfa Romeo as a reserve. He's returned after some injuries he had. And glad to be on the reserve list as well as a new addition to the league, RPM Sinful, has raced with a few of these guys in other leagues and has joined as well now, so he is going to be a new addition on the reserve list as well. I'm just gonna put up the track map and everything just to see how this is gonna go. Tires, I've seen mostly softs out. One of the Alfa Romeos at the front of the queue, just a serial killer. Didn't see him last week. He's just making his way through the out lap here. He's heading down the back straight. 16 corners, very difficult track. Usually I would say the tires choices are very, definitely very important to get that right. But I don't know how that's gonna be affecting the race. So especially with some rain coming in. Let's see, the Indian is, or the Canadian, I think he races from Canada, but he is Indian. I think that's his situation. So let's go on board with him, starting a lap. Don't usually see him very often, as he's just starting to go down towards turn 1. 2 DRS zones here, obviously won't be used in the race if it is full wet. But you head over towards turn 2 here, which is this little king to the right. Very difficult to get this right. Going all the way downhill into 3 and now the second left of 4. Then down to the low kink of turn 5. Sector time 24/7. Definitely think we will be seeing some faster times there. Heading through turn 6, difficult traction if you don't get it right. Heading through towards turn 7, you can take this flat if you take it right. Some hesitance on the throttle there for the Indian. He's heading through turn 8 and into turn 9 now, just about clipping the apex there, in the exit of 10 now. We're going to have a look if the sector 2 split is a bit more competitive. 53.3, I think we'll definitely be seeing some faster times in behind as he's heading for the most difficult section, I'd say, for this track. Turn 11, 12 and now 13. And yeah, especially this long right-hander is so important in the race. Trying to get that good exit to make sure you have a good run onto the straight. That's DRS zone, you're going to get big speeds up here down towards turn 14. and 15. It's technically a double right-hander. I don't know why they made it that way. Actually 14 in the exit and a low kink of 15 as he's heading down towards 16 now. We're going to have a look if he's going to improve as he has a big moment. Just about keeps it balanced and on track, but the 36 fly is definitely not that competitive, I have to say, to be honest. One of the Mercedes is in behind, Swip, or Division Organizer, obviously. The DRS is open, and that's going to be a lot better already, a 33-3. And I think we'll see one of the Ferraris. That's Mr. Burrow starting a lap. One of the Haas drivers. That is Ben Scott, 32.9. And Harry Newark on the mediums, actually on a 33.1. So definitely some time in that as well. As we see James Head, a 31.8. Not a bad time whatsoever. Getting a second out of that time from Ben Scott. This should put him towards the front of the division already. Definitely not too bad. One of the Haas, J-Luke. The free driver 4 has switched the wheel. So let's see how he gets on here. Be very interesting. See, as United Bosnia has gone marginally quicker than James Head. 131.833 instead of an 866. California is slung himself into P3. So one of the Alfa Romeos that will be Flip Namstram on an invalid lap 32.6. We'll see later on if he can improve. On a valid run, Jamie met towards the end of his lap, 7th place, and I think there's one of the Alpines just starting a lap. So definitely interesting to see that. Kevin Cal, last week's 2nd place, is up into P3. Quite a ways behind his teammate though, so definitely wanting to find some more time for out here. I believe he uses full traction control, which I find very impressive usually. I don't know how people do it, but you know what? If it suits them, it works. I think Car Cannon go around sector 1 on the Hearts. He did this last week as well. Just got some funny reactions from Ariel Felipe was watching from the race director. But this time out, it's just seeing the Harv runner just go around, exploring the track a little bit, not using ERS, I think, at least to start out with. We're going to have a look at one of the Ferraris here. His Ultimate Mr. Puro is coming towards the end of his lap, but it doesn't look too competitive, and I think he's going to go for another one. 49.5 indeed concludes that. Ibo on a 35 or these actually just... Is he just starting a lap? Might have been invalid then, I think. J-Luke has just finished his lap and get himself into P8. Not too bad whatsoever for him. Just looking around. If anyone else on the lap, Steven is obviously one particular of interest person to keep an eye on. Can he get himself among the top times? He's very quick on this game in the qualifying. He gets himself just in that 131.8 rate as well. So they're all getting very close together. Flip Namstram comes towards another. I think he's starting another lap. Not too sure. That's one of the Alpha Tauris as well. I think there was Jaff starting a lap on the mediums himself. Might be just to save out his sets. Car Cannon just struggling with that final corner right now. Not being able to keep it valid, but we'll see that later on. See an RPM Sinful on the inters actually. A few drives not going out yet. But that concludes like the first 7 minutes of qualifying. United Bosnia at the front ahead of James and Esteban. Which, I mean, those guys were pretty much near the front, at least on pace, in round 1. We're going to have a look if they can keep that up. But it does look good for them already. I think Mr. Puro has just ended the lap as well, 33.5. I think there's definitely some time in that for him. But we'll have to see about that. I think I've seen RPM Sinful on the inters actually going out. Peculiar choice. You could do some wet practice, but I think you need it to be actually wet for that potentially. Although it's his choice, so we'll have to see. Flip Namstram comes for the end of his lap, going for 214, down to first gear. As he gets a second gear, gets on the traction, has a big slide. We'll see if he can keep this going. You know, he's going to go into the pits, so will the Alpine. I think of Steban in behind. Yeah, a bit of a dead point. Everyone's just making their way out for a second run, or it's just trying to do something else. Jaff getting a lap time in on the mediums, 33.9. Could be a lot worse. you could say. They managed to get himself on the softs. That could end them going maybe into the 32s. Let's hope he can do that. Looking around, Karakana, I think, finishing a lap valid this time. Nope, 39 flat. But it's not coming up on the timing screen, so it's definitely not a valid lap. Just gonna check if the tire they're on right now is obviously not always the best tire they're on. Just Aaron O'Rourke, who's now switched to softs, so it'll be interesting to see if he can get himself up the timesheet. I think he's just started a lap, so we're looking at RPL Sinful, who's just come back in. I know a lot of drivers do this to test their equipment or something around that range, so maybe that's the reason as to why Sinful has done this. Major Falcon just coming through turn 3 and 4. I think starting his first off their laps. Just gonna have a look what he's gonna do. The sector 1, 24-1 is definitely not too bad. I haven't quite checked the sector times of the top guys. But we've seen Harry O'Rourke on a big improvement. 310s, obviously his first lap was on the medium, so that does make sense. As he's heading through turn 10 now. F is quite decent there as he's heading through the sector 2 split. 710s up this time. That could put him at least already in the top 4. Let's see if he can push this through in the final sector as well. It looks like a fairly decent lap from the Greek driver. He's heading out of there, quite stable, looking like, anyway. We have an awful camera angle, so you stay on board. DRS open. Heading down towards turn 14, late on the brakes. 100 meters. Yes, late on the brakes. You don't really need to touch that apex on the inside. You can kind of go around it and you'll be alright. As long as you don't go too deep. You see that it's fine for the Greek so far. A bit out of control there, but a 32-1 I don't think he'll be too unhappy with. I'm gonna have a look at Major Falcon in mind. What he's gonna do for his first lap. I think he is a bit down on that. No, he just about gets ahead of Aaron O'Rourke. 8,000 separating the two as he just lets his Aston Martin teammates through. Look at the Haas drivers coming up. I think Jay looks starting a lap. He's looking around if he can find some other drivers on the lap. I think Swift has improved his time there. 3.5 tenths. So not too bad from him. California 32.7. Slight improvement there from the Williams driver. And the Alpines is crossing the line. I think Steven just started a lap. And Ben Scott I think also starting a lap just there as MCFC has left the session unfortunately. Let's hope he can rejoin. Kevin Cowell coming up the line, 32.3. Decent time from him. And his teammates, James Head, I think, just starting a lap as well. So you need to keep an eye on the Bosnia. You just saw the delta there. And he seems to be up on his time. Quite a bit, 3.10s there. This could be a very good lap for the Bosnian. Living in Sweden, or sharing some fantastic food pictures. So we have one of the Ferraris, I think Ibra just starting a lap. So Jade Luck has been disqualified from the session from going the wrong way. He's parked at turn 10. Yeah, that's rather unfortunate. Wouldn't advise it. Anyway, we're looking at United Bosnia. He's coming through the final corner. Can he keep his balance? Does look like it, and this looks like he could be on for a massive improvement. 31.4. That's going to take some beating to do. And yeah, very good time from the Bosnian right there. From the Mercedes coming towards the end of their laps as well. I think Swift just heading into the pits. The MCC has rejoined with a little flicker coming through on the screen. Steban towards the end of his lap. Slightly up on his time. Maybe he's found some more time in the final sector. Yes, he has. 31.3. That's a great time from Steban. Ben Scott in behind as well, improving to 32.2. 31.3 is very quick. Steban and Bosnia looking like the quickest out here so far today. Actually, in Division 4 Euro is going to have a few drivers that are going to improve from track to track. I think Slip Namsram just improved to 32.3, but I could be wrong. He's still using ERS, so I think. No, I'm wrong on that. No, he is. The screen is glitching out a bit for me. That's unfortunate. Seeing what Ibo can do towards the end of his lap. 34.6. It's not that far off, honestly. Gets himself ahead of Car Cannon and Serial Killer, so I think he can be happy with that. Car Cannon is still making his way around the track on the hards, as he's got a 37.4 on the books right now. Be interesting to see if he's gonna go into the softs or just stick it out on the hards for the rest of the session. Just gonna have a look around if anyone else is on the lap. Played Namsar says he's got a purple middle sector, but he has no ERS, so it's gonna be very difficult to actually get right. You have to keep looking though as he heads down towards turn 13. I think it might be a wise place to go in, but I'm not too sure what he's gonna do. Heading onto the brakes, 100 meters. And then the first gear, collecting the apex quite a bit there actually. Cleaner exit than the last time he went around there. Let's see if he's gonna finish the lap. No, he isn't. He's going into the pits and to the first set of tires, and most importantly, getting more ERS to use as well. When the Alpha Tauri towards the end of their lap, that has to be Jav. Jav is towards the end of his lap. It's not the one I was meaning. Just MCFC starting his one and only lap, I think. Jav heading into the pits and collides there with Ben Scott, I think. And that's going to give Ben Scott a 5th place grid penalty. I'm not too sure how that's happened. Yeah, quite confused there. But Ben Scott's going to start 5 places lower. See MCFC coming through then towards turn 7 here. He's one and only lap for the Englishman. He's getting through turn 8 now. You can overtake here. Want to watch the D1 race back near the end of the race. MCFC on the exit there from 10 doesn't look like the greatest lap. 53.3. Definitely have some desires left in the tank. Let's have a look. He's heading coming through 12 and now into 13. The long right-hander. He gets the traction down quite nicely though, so not too many issues for him. Just looking at Car Cannon as well. Yeah, he's going to remain on the hards. He's not going to sit a lap on the soft, so he's just choosing to start at the back potentially, which was a worth raise. I don't know if it's the right choice. Heading onto the brakes, MCFC, bit of an oversteer moment there. Let's see if he can get himself maybe towards the top 10, or it's going to be a bit ways off. Doesn't look that quick. And yeah, 134.4 brings him only into P14. Could be worse though. So yeah. Have a look around. Mr. Burrow just starting a lap. I think Swift is on the lap. I think he might be the furthest one along, if I'm not mistaken. He's then coming through turn 8, now to turn 9. And using 3rd, 4th gear. Let's see the traction zone off 10 if he can improve himself towards the sector 2 split. The 51.9 brings him 10.5 up. He needs to find a bit more to find some more positions though. So let's see if he is able to do that. He's going onto the throttle here, down towards turn 13. And obviously the long straight here. Maybe if he's a bit lucky he can get some slipstream, but I think he's a bit too far off the Aston Martin ahead to do that. Let's see how late he's going to be on the brakes here. At the curb. Quite nicely done. 2nd gear. Bit of a moment of oversteer there. But he is still looking like he could improve on this lap. Obviously haven't seen his lap before. So no reference point there. But across the line, a 32.8. Improves his time, but not his position unfortunately. But the time should be heading in quite soon. As there's 30 seconds remaining in the session. And I think one of the Aston Martins just starting the laps. With the Major Falcon as well. Just looking through if anyone is towards the end of their laps. The Alpines, I think, is... Yeah, RPM Simple has not decided to do a lap, which is peculiar to me. Like an MCFC who's just going to go back into the pits. I think Jamie Met is also going back into the pits. He's not going to improve. They're going to remain in 13th or 14th at best. As the flag has been gone out, Kevin Cal doesn't look like he's going to improve. And maybe in the final sector he's got some time left. But it doesn't look like he's using ERS as of right now. So let's move on to the next driver, Mr. Puro. He is 4/10s up. It actually looks like a decent split time, so there might be a lot of time left in the final sector. Clips the curb a bit much though. Cross the line, 32.6 into P9, not too bad. Both McLarens are coming up, Harron work is done. Energetics across the line. 32 flat, puts himself in P4. Clutch moment right there. United Bosnia, I think, might have gone some slipstream there, if he's been lucky. Let's have a look. It was a 10th up. Heading down towards turn 16. Can he keep it valid? This Bosnian, yes he can. Can he beat Steban's time though? Across the line, 31.2. Great time there. And yeah, no complaints whatsoever there. Serial Killer slightly improving in behind. So let's see if Steban can actually re-top this. California towards the end of the lap. 31.9 into P4. Good time from him. Major Falcon across the line, slightly improving into P5. When the Alfa Romeos at Vietnam improving by a slight bit of time. The Alpines towards the end of the lap, that is Steban of course, but he is invalid. What would he have done? 31.2, so no improvement there. James, that doesn't look like he is improving, but yeah, I think he is not improving, and that's going to be it for the session. So United Bosnia and Steban look like they're very much clear of the field, but I'm just going to say, Harnoor did not do that time on the mediums, he did it on the soft, so here's your great order, yeah. Great time from Bosnia, great time for Steban as well, puts himself at the front, but how much different is this going to be in the actual race when we potentially have some wet weather, or maybe even changeable conditions? I'm not too sure. They're going to play into it quite a bit, and yeah, just mix things up as well, so we'll have to keep a look out on that. So you're now running you through the grid. Bosnia, Steban on the first row, then it's James Head and California in third and fourth on the second row. Major Falcon and Energetics 5th and 6th. And Harry Nowak and Flip Namstrom 7th and 8th. As we're looking at Ben Scott, who has got a 5-place grip penalty, so he's going to go down to 14th. Kevin Cowell's going to move up to 9th, Mr. Burrow to 10th, Jav to 11th, and Swift to 12th, and Jamie Met to 13th there. No one in the 33s is the fastest time, which is quite peculiar. So behind that's going to be Ben Scott, then MCFC and Ibo on the 8th row, Serial Killer and Karkan on the 9th row, and then at the back we're going to have Sinful and J-Luke starting from the back of the grid. So let's have a look how this is going to be in the race. No formation lap for anyone watching, just a reminder of that, or anyone listening in, as it does look dry at the start anyway. Yeah, we'll have a look if the rain has maybe been lying to them. Just waiting out. If it is remaining dry, this could be a very interesting race, because I don't think the strategy is very known. You can do quite a few things. I think a one-stop in any way does work, but a two-stop could also work quite decently. So I'm gonna have a look who is doing what as we get our way onto the grid in just a second. We're gonna no formation laps, so straight into the race. As the 5 red lights are gonna come on right now, and it's light out, and away we go. Let's see who's the best start. I think United Bosnia has the best start at the front, and it's going to retain his lead as we see California Major Falcon barging just in behind, and Energetics as well getting involved. California getting himself along the inside there. All sorts of action down the grid. You're going to have to keep a look, but the top 3 remains the same. California is battling Major Falcon here. Flip Namstram and Mr. Pearl in behind as well. Looking at Major Falcon around the outside here on the mediums compared to the hards there. Seeing one of the Alfa Romeos go round. I think that is Flip Namstram. Someone else just going a bit slower here as well. I think that's Swift just trying to let people through, potentially. I'm not too sure what for. But he might have had something to do with the contact with Flip. And yeah, he is going to be down in 18 for now. Top 2 have gone away quite nicely. Let's have a look at the tyres here. A lot of mediums, a lot of hards, and one on the softs is Ivo, and he's up into P11. So let's cheer on a little bit, as long as he keeps doing well. Down to 12 as I say that. With J-Met dropping a few positions here, and he's into the gravel. And he's going to be down into last place now. That's unfortunate for him. Looking at the front though, Steban on the mediums. It's going to overtake Bosnia, who's on the hards. So different strategies between the top two. Bosnia going very deep into the hairpin. And that is causing a lot of contact between them. Steban just with the earth is going to clear Bosnia just ahead there of the final corner. Seeing a few cars go wide. As Bosnia is trying to get back at him. James is also trying to get involved here. As we've seen the Bosnian on the back of the Alpine, but not quite able to make a move through, at least down towards turn 1 or turn 2 for now. And this doesn't allow James to get into the fight. Well, said he wasn't going to get P6 this time, but it might be even higher looking at it right now. Swip has gone into the pits for a new front wing, and that might suggest that he had something to do at the front of the race. We've seen MCFC just lose a few positions there, and he is alongside and backwards. So he is going to be at the back of the grid this time, only ahead of Swift. Just looking at the positions gained and lost. Looking at a great start for Ibo, great start for J-Look from the back of the grid as well. He's up at the 13th already, right behind his half teammate of Ben Scott. Let's see if he's going to be able to make his way through. He's on the mediums, two guys around him on the hard. Obviously Ibo's still ahead on the softs as well. So let's see if Steban has broken the DRS gap already to Bosnia. I'm just going to go back up there. Apologies. As Energetics is on the back of James, who's on the back of Bosnia. As James is going to get through here without using any DRS. That'd be very smart. A little bit there just to push himself through alongside. I think that's going to be the move done right there. A bit of contact in behind Energetics and Bosnia. But it looks like it hindered Energetics more than it did Bosnia. J-Look is through into P11. Want to keep an eye on him. He's obviously new, but fighting Ben Scott this time out. Teammates. So they're 3 seconds back from the pack. We're going to have a look back up at California, who's looking around the outside of Energetics, but not quite able to get through though on the switchback. Down the inside, so going to be able to make that through around the outside. Not quite, but the switchback might lend itself for the Williams here. Underneath the McLaren, I don't think he's able to quite get through, but maybe down towards turn 6 he has another opportunity. But I think Energetics just having a bit more straight line speed is going to help him right there and stay ahead in P4. J-Look and Ibo fighting here for P12. It's nice to see Ibo a bit competitive here. Don't think he might need to say that, but yeah, he's enjoying his time fighting people. Sinful and Serial Killer side by side coming into turn 7. I think Sinful is going to make that move stick, and he is ahead in P14 right now, with a Flip just in behind in P16. Gonna have a look at Mr. Perot and Falcon. We've kind of got a gap to Kevin Cowell, who doesn't look as quick this time as he did in Australia so far, but maybe he is still yet to change my mind. Just gonna have a look how this is gonna go. This train seems to remain quite intact, as we've seen J-Look and Ibo, I think, having some contact here. And that has put them both back to the back of the grid. I think Ibo has actually lost his front wing completely, looking at that. So, yeah, so far for him being competitive. As both Alfa Romeos are getting through on Sinful. And on those hards, he hasn't got quite a lot to fight for. So he's just trying to make his way through, but doesn't look that good so far. On lap 4, Steban leading the race ahead of James Head. So he's just following right in behind. I wonder if he wants to get through. He does look slightly quicker currently in the Alpine, but obviously the DRS might have helped him in showing that advantage. So Ibo is now into the pits and he's gonna put in a new front wing. So yeah, this gap is remaining quite stable. Top 9 was still within the train. Jav then kind of on his own in P10. And a few lone drives actually there. Ben Scott and Philip Namsram sort of alone there as well, with Serial Killer and Sinful and right in behind. And a bit behind that we have Karkan and Jamie Mitt in 15th and 16th. California losing a bit of ground here in the middle sector, which is going to allow Major Falcon to close up and have a DRS advantage here coming on towards turn 13 and 14. But is he going to have the ERS and probably straight line speed to do this? Not too sure. All of this is making Bosnia's life quite a bit easier, as he's on on the hearts, obviously, gonna have an advantage later on. We're gonna have a look how this is gonna go. I wonder what the medium guys are gonna do, because she can do quite a few strategies. You can go to the hearts, you can go to the softs. I think at the end of it, as California does get a 3-second time penalty, which is gonna set him back quite a bit. At the end of it, it doesn't really matter that much as long as you time it well. As Ibo has another spin at the back, causing some yellow flags right there. Quite the status quo as of right now. As James has decided to remain behind Steven for now, although he's getting very close. Is he going to have a look down the inside of 6? Not quite. He's going to stick him behind and he's going to allow Steven to retain the lead for now without much trouble. Lisbon's just going to catch on to Karkan and J-Met, who seem to be having a bit of a battle. As they've been swapping positions quite a lot. Doesn't seem to be the quickest of battles, but you know, battles are still battles, and especially when they're good, it's quite enjoyable for the people driving as well. Top 9 still quite intact as of right now. As James is coming onto the straight on the back of Steven, very close, and I don't think he's going to hesitate and go past. Is Bosnia going to take advantage of this as well? He's closing back up here, as James does take the lead. Bosnia looking up the inside, not quite able to get through. Major Falcon has moved through on California, with Mr. Puro not far in behind as well on the hard. Maybe Major Falcon on those mediums is going to be able to pull along the hard runners a little bit more. Bosnia got a good exit though, Steban maybe not so much, and that's going to allow Bosnia to get alongside, but Steban recognizes that. And I think he knows he wants to stay ahead. He doesn't want a hard runner right in front of him. But Bosnia on the switchback. Is he going to be able to make that one stick? It'll be a sick move. Still side by side down into turn 3. A little bit of contact there. It's a bit difficult corners to estimate where the other is. He's still on the outside there. Still side by side down towards turn 5 and 6 now. Great battle between the two. Steven very late on the brakes, but Bosnia having the inside here. Horrible camera angle. Now on the exit, who's going to get the better of the two? I think Steban is on the better line here, and he's going to retain that lead, but he has some work to do to try and stick with James Ed. He might be spending his opportunity to get away, although not having much ERS to play with. Meantime, Energetics still looking in behind right all this. He's just patiently waiting, as Major Falcon has gone clear of California. He just doesn't seem to have the pace of his peers around him, even though being on the hearts. Will have a disadvantage. Doesn't look as quick as Mr. Burrow or Bosnia as of right now. I think Steven's just held onto onto the DRS. We're gonna have a look. I might be wrong. I think he doesn't have it, so he has used enough ERS, I think, to catch back up. He's gonna see that red, burning light right there on the back of the Red Bull. And he's gonna know that James doesn't have much ERS to play with. And he's going to feel a bit more secure there, but who has the most ERS to play with is Bosnia on those hearts, which is very impressive. He just looks very quick around here. So he has the DRS and the slipstream. He's trying to get alongside, looking up the inside of turn 1 once again. Late move, but I don't think he's going to get through, but on second occasion he's going to try the same thing again. And are they going to touch this time? Don't think so. A little bit of contact I heard actually. Let's see who's going to get through on the better of this. I think this time Bosnia has it. Great grip there on the outside. And he's moved through into P2. Very impressive race from the Bosnian. I think Flip Namstrom went through and Ben Scott, who's now caught the back of Jav. J-Luke is retired on the exit there, and it's going to bring out a safety car. And that throws up the strategies quite a bit. Yeah, J-Luke must have spun and crashed out on the exit off turn 14, and yeah, this brought out a safety car, and I reckon a lot of the medium runners are going to pit, and the hard runners might be a little bit screwed with this unless they decide to just go along. But I feel like a lot of the medium runners are going to pit onto a set of hards and try and make it to the end. By that, I'm not saying it's the quickest. I'm gonna have to see if someone else decides to do something different. But it's definitely an interesting change of events. Potentially with rain on the horizon, but I feel like that must have been the symbols they've seen in the garage and then, thought that was for the race, what was actually for qualifying. Because that is a little bit of a glitch within the images of the forecast. So let's see at the front who is going to pit, who is going to stay out. We've seen James had dive into the pit lane. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Bosnia staying out. As Ben Scott has a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. Now that's impressive. I don't know what he's doing. He stood nearly still. I'm so confused. Had some questionable moments last week as well. I've seen James have gone to a new set of mediums. So does Steban. So does Energetics. Softs for Major Falcon. I'm surprised no one's going to Hearts. I've seen Harry Noir go Hearts. I've seen Jaff potentially go Hearts. No, he's going onto the softs. Flip Namter onto mediums. Oh, this is very interesting. If you get to the front of stay outs, 4 of them. But they're going to be actually MCFC and Karkan are also staying out. They're going to be very, very vulnerable to all these guys on pressure and softer compounds. And this spices up the race quite a bit, especially for someone like Bosnia, who looked like he was the quickest, and now he's going to have to pull some very good pace at these hearts to actually make this work. So, very, very interesting strategies here. A few on the softs as well, who are 100% committed. Obviously, the guys who pitted from the mediums to the softs are going to be committed. The guys who pitted from the mediums to the mediums are going to be committed to this. Harry Noir, the only one who's actually put on the hearts. He's going to try to make it towards the end. He could be in a very good position if he can make those hearts last quite nicely. This definitely spices it all up. There's the 4 staying out with Bosnia, California, Mr. Puro and Kevin all on the hearts from the start. And they're going to stay out. And everyone's able to catch up right now. Obviously, going to be very interesting to see if those mediums guys can go through. I'm just going to have a look. Actually, I don't want to have a look in the race director given the glitch we had last week with Ariel Felipe, who wasn't able to go back out of it. So I would go into the race director, but just check what people exactly did. But I might be able to do it in recollection. So definitely James had and Steban, who went from mediums to mediums. Major Falcon went from mediums to softs. Energetics from mediums to mediums. Harnor from mediums to hearts, which should bring him towards the end of the race. Jav from mediums to softs. Flip from mediums to mediums. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. Sinful hearts to mediums. Now, that could work. You could make it to the end of the mediums. It's going to be one hell of a task. This Flip has a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane under the safety car. I always find it quite impressive when people do that. Because there's no point in being quick under the safety car. I don't get that. Anyway, Serial, I think he said on the heart. I think the same goes for Ben's Cult. So, those guys, if they want to make it towards the end, given there's no other safety cars potentially, they're gonna have their task upon them to try and manage the size as well as they can, and hopefully get them towards the end. But obviously Division 4, a lot of safety cars can happen, so who knows what that's going to be. Swift has also switched to the heart, so he might have been listening in to me, and I think, you know what, I'm going to try to make it towards the end on that strategy. We're going to have a look if he's going to be able to catch up in the first place. I think he will. And we might go, if he's quick, we might go at the end of this lap again. We might get back on the way. But I don't think we are, as Bosnia is dropping a monstrous gap that isn't necessary, really. I haven't seen any inclination of the safety car ending, so I don't think you're supposed to do that. Looking at California, who's also signaling to Bosnia to make his way through. If we get it now, that could happen with Swip just about catching up. But I don't think it is coming in. So we're going to go one more lap. Then we should go back on the way with Bosnia leading. And it's going to be very interesting to see what they do as well in terms of strategy. The undercuts, or put it this way, you having fresh tires is going to benefit you so much around this track. And yeah, I just hope that that's going to be the case in terms of the hard runners are still within this and potentially able to go back onto the Swift has once again gone into the pit, so I don't know what he's doing. He is going back onto set of mediums. He's surfing his 5 seconds, actually, that makes sense. He's going back onto 3-lap old mediums. I think he must have started the race on those. Could make it to the end, but again, very tough task and trying to make it last towards the end there. So, we're just gonna wait till the safety car will go in this lap. I'm 100% certain of that. So I'm just gonna have a look if yeah, J-Look is saying yeah he was too much on the throttle and spun around and maybe collected Ibo there as well. So yeah, that is unfortunate to say for him. Swift is going to be able to catch back up, I think, if he does that properly. Bosnia doesn't go too quick. Yeah, he's going to be able to catch up. And we're going to have Bosnia leading this grid at quite a decent pace here. So some complaints in last week's safety car restart that they were too slow. That's definitely not the case on this one. And in that case, the tourists didn't deem it too slow either. So I think it's just a matter of paying attention and make sure you are keeping some distance to the car ahead and not just sitting alongside them. That looks to be done quite decently now. Just heading into the hairpin. When does Bosnia go? With an awful camera angle. He's still waiting on the exit here as California almost gets alongside there. And now he goes right before the final corner. Caught a few guys a little bit off guard. As he does go wide, that's going to open up some opportunities for California to get alongside. He is looking at those opportunities and trying to get through on it. On the outside, he's going to be able to make that one stick. Jaff moves through on his AlphaTauri compatriots as he does move back down the grid there. On the softs, seeing some battles here as well. Flip Namstorm getting through on MCFC. Jav down the inside of MCFC. Good move to go with him, and he might be able to capitalize right away on the back of Flip. Seeing the two ripple side by side nearly. James side by side with Steban now, as Major Falcon on the softs is looking to get through as well. This is all getting very close, nearly 3 wide. A few people backing out. Major Falcon just going too deep and is into the side of Steban. Tags along James' head as well, and both of their races are going to go downhill, unfortunately. Yeah, I think Major Falcon just understeered a bit too much into the side of Steban and it's spun around, unfortunately. That's going to promote Steban now up into 4th because of it. He's on the back of Kevin right away. Mr. Furman must have made a mistake at some point. I think he was side by side with Kevin, so might have lost out a little bit due to that. Steban is looking on the back of this hard runner of Kevin, and it's not even going to bother, having any issues with that. Mr. Furrow, he's looking to get a move done, but backs out of it quite substantially. Goes a bit deep though. I think he hit the cross on the entry potentially. It's going to allow Harry Noir to take advantage of that. And he is through into P5 on those hearts. Looks in a good position here. We'll have a look at the rest of the race if he's going to be able to make that through. As Mr. Furrow is trying to get back at the McLaren around the outside. Between the finish and the Greek. I think... Oh, Energetics has managed to crawl through as well. Good opportunism from the Dutchman, and that's going to lose Mr. Bird 2 positions in a few corners. MCFC is into the pits, potentially some damage. Steban has gone through in California. And he's making, as maybe the only one, use of those mediums properly. Looking further down the grid to see Ben Scott and Swip side by side coming through turn 6. I think Ben Scott is going to hold on to that position for the time being. So James is now on the back of this as well. Car Cannon getting a 3-second time penalty, fortunate for him. So he's then in 18th, not quite as competitive as he'd like potentially. Both McLarens getting very close together. Flip Namsram getting a move done on Mr. Puro. Good move there from the Dutchman. He's up into P7 on his return in the race, and Jaff is being opportunistic as well. He's going to get alongside the Finn, and he's up into P8 now with Major Falcon in behind. He's after recovering after that incident, and yeah, it just seems like those hards are no match for the mediums or soft right now. Steven has gone through United Bosnia. Energetic is through on Harry Newark. Now, Harry Newark is on the fresher heart, so he does look like he can, you know, take a bit more care and still make it to the end. Jaff and Flip Namsram battling it out. Jaff gone through on those softs. DRS now enabled. As it looks like it's a bit darker, is there rain coming? Is that the reason why these guys have, you know, pitted to a softer compound? As Energetic's trying to make his way around the outside of Kevin. Is he going to be able to do that? I think so. Good move from Energetics. Lost pace left by Kevin as well, so good on him for recognizing the other driver as well. As Harry Newark is looking to move through as well. Energetics is trying to go through on California. California locking up a little bit, which blocks Energetics a little bit. And now running outside, is Energetics going to be able to make that one stick on the mediums? More grip. Going to be very difficult still. Side by side, turn 8. Very, very close together between the two of them. But very good respect shown as well. As Kevin Cal and Harry Newark are still side by side. As Jav is trying to get in amongst of this, as Major Falcon has gone round again on the softs this time, and he's down into 14th, unfortunately, as these drivers again all very close together. Energetics going very deep there. We're seeing Jav trying to get alongside Harry Newark this time. I've seen Flip Namsram appear on the inside. He's got the best exit there, and they're going to be free wide right away here, heading down towards the DRS zone. And who's not going to get it? I think all of them are going to get some sort of DRS. No ERS for Jaff. Jaff on the slipstream of the Dutchman and the Alfa Romeo down the inside, making it free wide. It's very late in the brakes, and I think he's gone too deep and hit the back of Kevin there. So he's just causing a little bit of mayhem. A bit too much, I think. So they're all free wide again. Need to watch out for that as the rain has started to fall, I think. If I wasn't mistaken, I saw some raindrops. Yes, there is, as we see on board there with Jav. And this might prove the right choice for Steban and all those others on the softer compound, because the softer compounds usually work better in the wet conditions. See this group still very close together, held up at Kevin as a Sinful round the outside of Mr. Puro is going to do quite well and make that move into P9. So staying out in the heart hasn't completely filled these guys, as long as the rain falls quick enough that they can go into the inters right away. Jaff getting through on Kevin Cal, Flip Namstrom getting through on Kevin Cal, and I think Harry Newark is looking to get through on him as well as soon as he can. Seeing these conditions are very, very difficult to keep your car in a straight line. Ben Scott moving around the outside of Serial Killer right there, not quite able to do it though. Jav has now Flip Namstrom on the back once again on those mediums, looking to get through. Down towards turn 11 is going to be very difficult to do so, and I think Flip Namstrom on the exit though has a much better exit, and he's alongside and through it looks like, but obviously the slipstream is going to be in favour of Jav, DRS is going to be in favour of Flip, and Kevin Cal is going to have both with some, no, not some ERS actually, as we see them going side by side up ahead. Energetics is trying to move through in Bosnia as well up ahead, which is something we need to keep an eye on. Yes, we do. As he's through right there. Steban has a 4.5 second lead. More action going on. It's all kicking off here. As Harry Newark and Mr. Puro side by side. I think Sinful involved as well. As we have some rev glitch. Amazing to hear that. For certain cars. So James Head is moving through here as well. On Serial Killer, he's down the inside back at the P11. You might have some work cut out for him to get back through. Actually, Serial Killer is holding on quite nicely. James Head around the outside, still on the inside now. And he is going to move through. Ben Scott trying to take advantage from this as well, as the conditions are getting worse and worse. And when is it time to go to the inters? We don't know. Jav's gone a bit deep, I think, there, but has a better exit, so keeps this sixth position. Ben Scott and Serial Killer still fighting it out here. Ben Scott getting a much better exit. And he's going to look around the outside here as he touches the grass, and he's going to be off track and losing some valuable time there. Jamie Metz on the back of it, trying to get through. James Ed getting through on Mr. Puro, who's on those old hearts, just struggling in these conditions. And just seeing how much skill takes currently to keep your car in a straight line, keep it all nice and clean to get a flip. Namstrom is trying to get through in Jav here. No, on California, sorry. Jav is in behind, obviously. And it is slowly but surely cutting that gap down to Steban, so keep an eye on that. And it might be very quick in these conditions as well. But now it's going through, and he's up into P4 now on track. Harry Noir trying to move through on Kevin Cal with Sinful diving it down the outside. Going off track in doing so not quite successful. But remains in 9th place and will get through on this Red Bull sooner rather than later. Let's see, who's the first one to move into the pits? It's Kevin Gal. He has decided it's already time for the inters. I'd imagine so. I don't imagine he would go onto those set of dries, and it does look like the intermediates are coming out to the Red Bull, so we need to keep an eye on how he's going to be doing, as we've seen Ben Scott and Serial Killer and Mr. Puro all close together here. I think Mr. Puro has some damage as well on the front wing. Yeah, it does look like that, and that's going to result in more damage. Serial Killer's gone round, I think, just having too much issues as he resets the track. That's what we would like to see. And Jamie Met also onto the inters, as well as Major Falcon right there and MCFC. So all of these guys going on to intermediate and have to make the right call. They can't really compare to Ebo, apologies, but we can compare to Swip, and the guys up ahead. Just going to have to see. Actually, we'll put on the leader time gap so we can see if he's gaining on the leaders or being close to them. As I see one of the Mercedes, I think Car kind of having some issues right there. Turn 6. Looks like he's going round in one way or another. He rejoins in 17th, and his heart is not going to be the right choice right now. Looks like the gap has stayed quite equal with Steban. Maybe just getting used to the inters as well. So this might be the crossover point should it stay inter. Taking it dry. You've seen this in Division 1, where Montana managed to just skip the intermediate phase by staying on the driest tyre and won the race that way. So seeing Steban go in, I think he has a lot of issues going into the pits. Energetics is staying out, Bosnia is staying out as well, Split Namstrop staying out, California is in with Jav, as Jav has gone so deep, he almost did a new Lewis Hamilton. He ends up alongside with Mahar Noir here coming into the pits. Jav's going to get the better of him. RPM Sinful as Ben Scott has retired coming into the pits, and let's bring out a safety car. And that's going to throw everything up once again. Where has Ben Scott retired? It must have been into the pit lane. I didn't quite catch it, but yeah, given that Kevin Carl's just drove past, I think he must have just gone straight on, done a Lewis Hamilton essentially in 2007, and that way he has retired from the session, brought out a safety car, and this is going to benefit. Although Jav has gone on to the mediums, which is once again an all choice. I don't see how this is going to be mediums. It's going to benefit these guys who've stayed out though, because they're going to have less, they need less time to pit. Because these guys are limited to their speed on this delta of the safety car. So for Energetic, Flip and Bosnia, this is not a great thing, as Kevin Cal has got a drive through for speeding on safety car. If he's listening in, he can't serve this one under the safety car, so don't try that. The game would just not recognize it, as obviously it's not allowed in real life either. So that makes complete sense. So yeah, these guys, and I think also Sweat might benefit in some positions of this as well. Having stayed out might have been the best choice in hindsight. We're gonna see. I don't doubt that these guys are all gonna go to the inters. But does someone even dare to go into the wets? I'm not sure how the rest of the forecast is looking, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone decides to go into the West. We've seen this in Singapore last year as well. Last season. I'm gonna have a look and say, yeah, we've seen Steven, he's been limited by the Delta so much that he can't just pass by right away. We've seen, I think, green wall tires. No, those are softs for energetics. Softs for flight. Now, I'm sorry, is it going back to dry condition? Bosnia is going to Inters. Surely it must be going back to dry conditions. Otherwise, you would not go onto those tires. The jab is also on the meat. That is a purposeful choice. Hang on. Kevin Cowell's come back in. There's a lot of drivers coming back onto... This is the same forecast as Division 1 had. So that's what it seems like. Swift has gone back onto the softs. I think it's going back to dries. And people have just realized this. And I've just realized this as well. Obviously, I can't see the forecast, but... Otherwise, there's no explanation for everyone going onto the dry set of tires. Yeah, peculiar situation. With the exact same forecast as Division 1, considering, you know, some level of safety cars have held up the race a bit. But, yeah, very interesting. Just checking if there's anyone going on in the Discord chat. As yeah, we have a 3-second timer from Jamie met. And that is just going to hold them up a bit further for the grid. Ryan Belshaw, as I know him. There's too many Ryan B's in this league, so that's why. He's saying Diff 4 is the scariest thing I've ever watched, and I couldn't agree more, honestly. But it's very entertaining, and it's gonna be very entertaining when the safety car gets going again. If this rain doesn't clear up right away, this could be the maddest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. Wild scenes. Let's see, if anyone else... If these guys... Did they decide to stay out in the Inters? If Stevan decides to stay out, Bosnia has decided to come in. Bosnia has seen others go to the dries, and he's decided, you know what, I might not want to lose out on that. Should it happen. But it's a risky gamble, though. A few more towards the back of the grid are coming back in. I don't know why Kevin Cowell's come back in. I think he might... Oh no, he does damage. Well, that's interesting. Don't know how he's done that. Some medium, some softs here, but definitely all dries here, and this has thrown up the grid so much that Jav and Sweat might be in contention for a podium here. As a... Yeah, I'm baffled. I'm absolutely baffled. With some of these choices. Obviously, the safety cars being at these times does make it even more complicated, but you know what? It's definitely part of D4, and it definitely is part of the entertainment as well. Just to make sure people watching, and you look at it now, it looks like it's about to dry up immediately again, and I think the safety car is going to be in this lap as the Red Bull of Kevin Gall is just about to catch up. I think we will go back on the way this lap. Yes, there is the confirmation message. So Steven is going to be leading on the Inters. We have some soft runners in mind, and it's California on the Inters, Jav on mediums, the three Inter runners of Harry Simple and James Eds. Swip on the softs there, and Ibo and MCFC on the Inters in the middle of the field. Then it's Cyril on softs, Bosnia mediums, Jamie and Mr. Pearl on softs, Karkan and Moja Falcon on mediums, and then Kevin Cal on the softs. So let's go to the front and see how Steven is going to approach this safety car restart, because it is looking bone dry now again for no reason whatsoever. I do have to agree that the further forecasts are a bit weird on this game, as he's trying to go on the throttle, and has gone on the throttle now. And is he going to dive into pits? Yes, he is. So Energetics are going to take that lead right away with Flip Namsram in second, Jav in third. I've seen all these inter-runners apart from, I think someone's saying out. Ibo's staying out. Fair enough. And all these guys are going to come in, and they're following in the safety car, which is quite funny. Flip and Energetics are going at it at the front. I'm sorry for missing that, as everything is going on at the same time. Flip is taking the lead now, and on his return to the league, he could quite easily, or maybe even potentially, get a race win here. Jav needs to stop doing that. If you're listening, Jav, you want to brake a bit early for that turn 6. I've seen that a few times now. We've just gone a bit too deep onto the brakes there in turn 6, and almost hit the back of someone. Don't want to do. And at this rate, I wouldn't be surprised if it starts raining again. Ibo's still on the Intis here as in P5, with Bosnia, Mr. Puro, Serial all in behind, very close in mind, and Ibo just kind of trying to let him through. I think Bosnia is trying to get through on both of Serial and Ibo, as looking at Mr. Puro getting alongside as well. Ibo going very deep as he's gone round, and he's collected Jamie Metz, and I think one of the Mercedes as well. I think that might be Car Cannon, who's got some damage as well, unfortunately. I'm not going to go on board with it because the ref glitch has absolutely ruined this. And yeah, this is just very unfortunate. All those guys are just going to be set back a little bit further than they already were. So seeing Flip Namsram try and extend his lead on the softs, and looks to be quite quick here right now. Just seeing Bosnia and Serial Killer nearly side by side there. Bosnia trying to get through, obviously, very obviously the quicker of the two. I hate this ref glitch to absolute pieces. Let me see if there's any way. I don't think I can fix it. It's Major Falcon and Kevin Cal have gone back into the pits. Have they collected them as well with damage? With Steven down in P10, he's going to be up into P8 now. He's going to be on the freshest set of softs off them all. So we're seeing Bosnia and Mr. Furrow on the back here of Serial. Is he going to be able to make a move? Not quite. Hits the back of Serial though. And it's just gone too deep as Mr. Furrow's got a free side penalty on the entry there. Done the same thing as Jaff has been doing, so that's not great. Yeah, 7.5 laps to go, and this is the situation where Jaff is in a podium position. If you're hearing this, don't bother with mate. Because everyone's watching. Mr. Furrow on the back of Serial as well. Swip also has a potential podium coming up here. He's going to look at Jaff and be like, I can beat him. And obviously Bosnia is going to try to prevent this with probably some better pace. But you never know, there's still 7.5 laps to go, and I've seen everything in this absolute chaotic race. Maybe that is something that can happen as well. The other sector one is Ibo just letting people through, I think. Serial Killer and Mr. Puro are still going at it. Serial Killer holding onto that position quite well. He's been defending really well, which is why he's still up here where he is. I don't think he's the quickest out here, but definitely he's got some good defensive skills. Energetics has lost a little bit of time to Flip, which allows Flip to have broken the DRS, and he looks like he is going to be on for a win here. Right ahead of Energetics and Jab in P3, but who knows what Bosnia can do, what Swip can do, what anyone can do in this race, honestly. So we have some battles further down the grid as well. MCFC and James Head going at it into turn number 1 and 2. James are going too deep, and MCFC getting himself underneath the Red Bull. AlphaTauri and the Red Bull side by side. I think MCFC done this quite nicely, and he's made that move stick. Good move from the AlphaTauri. He's up in the P11. That's 2 points for him. Would he finish there? So James is trying to get back at the AlphaTauri on the back and not quite able to get through. I'm going to have a look here what is going on. Mr. Burr has gone through on Serial at an unorthodox place. Coming into turn 9, I think. So it is possible to overtake there, once again. Swip has been holding up Bosnia a little bit, which is going to be inevitable that Bosnia overtakes, I think. And I think he deserves it as well, given his pace today. He's up into P4. 3 seconds is the gap to Jaff. And Jaff has to absolutely drive some worldy laps to hold on to this podium. or be a bit lucky, potentially with some penalties. But who knows at this point. So, looking at Steven as well, he's just kind of in the middle of nowhere. So, Energetics has the fast lap of the race, so he's trying to get back at Flip Namsram. Needs to get in that DRS for him to be quite safe, and maybe have a move in the final few laps. We can see a nice little battle between them two. Hopefully that is going to be the case. 34.7 for Steban, 3 second time penalty for Ebo. As Energetics is trying his absolute best to get in that DRS of the Alfa Romeo here. The reserve, he's doing quite well. 2 reserves in the top 3 actually here. Jav obviously being a reserve as well. The full-time drivers need to kind of step it up. And looking at that, James has not been able to get through on MCFC. And MCFC looks to have picked up the pace. Doesn't look that quick today, but you know, these last few laps might be proven different. Kevin Cal on the back of Sinful as well. It is just thrown up the race so much. Everything that's happened. And we're going to have a look at the front now, where Energetic is on the back of Flip. And is he going to already have a look, or is he going to wait it out? I'm not too sure. We're looking at Bosnia as well, who is nearing the back of Jav as well. And I wonder if Bosnia, on his mediums, maybe if the softs deteriorate quick enough, with probably some better pace as well than those guys, could he catch the top 2? I'm not sure. First, obviously, he has to get past Jav. Jav is absolutely going to defend every little move that he can. But looking at that exit, I think that Bosnia is going to be able to just breeze past there. I don't think Jav has much to fight with. Yeah, Bosnia's through. 4.5 seconds. The Bosnian has to get on the 2 Dutchies up front. Let's see if he's going to be able to do it. Further down, both the Red Bulls still from a good position what they were in. They're done in 12th and 14th. Potentially some penalties helping their way, but not that much, looking at it. Maybe the California can be caught, but beyond that, I don't think the Red Bulls are going to be on for many points here. Which is quite a disappointment. Just looking as well, like, Energetics looks like he could make a good move in the top of the championship. 15 people watching to see the end of this race as well, which is slid madness. Looking at Jaff, who's you know, just dropped off a little bit, but Slip has not been catching him, so a P4 could very well be on for the Spaniard there. And I think he will be absolutely ecstatic with that one. Looking at the front though, Energetics on the back of Flip Namsram, and he's going to breeze past, take the lead. Flip Namsram gonna fight back. I don't think the Dutchman is against the other Dutchman. The privilege is gone for now, and it has gone deep though, and it's going to allow Flip Namsram to maybe get underneath, but Energetics with a wider line is going to get the better exit and hold on to that P1 for now. Obviously still 4 laps to go. So a lot of time to be made up for it. Flip Namsram looks to get back at the McLaren, looks down the inside here, very deep on the brakes, and that's actually a very good move. He timed that very well, and he is back up into P1. You see James had making a move as well on MCFC down in the hairpin, and he's catching up to Harry Newark, so a few more points might be on offer here. And potentially on penalties as well. California could be caught, as said before. So a P9 is still in it for the Red Bull. We're going to have to see if California can maybe hold on to it, with the mediums being a bit better at the end of the stint. Have a look. If that is the case, Bosnia as well is, I don't think he's out of this. 3 seconds, and if those Dutchies at the front are going to fight, there is a good chance that Bosnia still has a chance in getting this race victory, but it's going to be very difficult, and he's just making a bit of a mistake, which allows the Bosnian to get closer and closer. And it takes, yeah, this lap not looking too great. I think he's just going to have DRS, but Flip Namsram is looking to get away as well. On relatively similar ERS, Bosnia has 10% less than the top 2. This could be a good showdown towards the end, should it come to it. The gap is now 8 tenths between the top 2 and around 3 seconds between all of the top 3, so this could be a very entertaining move. I'm looking at James as well, making up positions, potentially getting another one here on this trade, should you have enough straight line speed. Let's see if he is going to be close enough. He doesn't have much ERS to fight with, but Harry Noark has quite a bit more. So I don't think, but James Head is actually going to get alongside. So a lost straight line speed. Saw this before as well, I think, in Miami, where he was running in the preseason race. A lot of straight line speeds. He's up at the P10 now, so maybe he can salvage a few points still from this. Back to front. Mr. Burris caught Swip here, so, but despite having that penalty, I don't think he is going to clear Swip either. As Arno Mark is getting back at James Head into turn 1 and 2, and yeah, roles reversed, and the Greek is now back at P10, and this puts California out of sight, and it might relax him a little bit as well. He's yeah, he's been kind of all over the place in two positions, always been kind of up there. Now P9. Looking at Steven as well, he could still beat Serial Killer, maybe even Mr. Puro on the penalties. Steven obviously also looking like the other very quick one here today, alongside Bosnia, but not able to get the result needed. Bosnia not able to quite close in as much as he'd like to, I think, and I think this might be a showdown between the two Dutchies. Should I say like that? Mr. Puro is getting through on Swip. If I'm Swip, I wouldn't fight this too much. You know, sit in the DRS and take home the P5 if he does it properly. And James Head once again. Is he going to be able to make the move? I'm looking at time gap as well. As James Head is moving through here quite easily on Harry Noark, and no issue there. He's going to be up into P10 again. Mr. Greek going to be able to get back at him. The ref glitch is again back, as you probably could have heard. I still can hear. Once again, Fang Scope Masters. As Harry Noark is now on the back, and I think he's done the same trick again. He's standing inside, and I don't think James has much to fight with. Less ERS. And yeah, Harry Noark back up into P10, I should say. Obviously, he can't do it in the last lap, so he needs to figure out something to maintain that position before the start-finish line. But, you know, the defending trick is working quite well here for the McLaren. Back up the grid, I think Philip Navram looks to be in a bit more control. But Energetics has these weird spells where he just starts driving very quickly. Speaking of driving very quickly, Bosnia is caught up to 1.2 seconds now. Something needs to happen at the front, but it is still possible for him to go through. Steban has still an opportunity to beat Serial here, I think. And just looking down, I think Harry Noark and James are just going to fight this out for P10. So we're going to have a cut on to the race lead fight. I think that's the most important one here right now. Energetics has to give it all, but Flip has to give it all as well. Having slightly less ERS. So Energetics has to use his deployment smartly here. MCFC getting a time penalty, that's not going to affect the points unless Sinful gets through. Steven getting through on Serial Killer into turn 14. 5 tenths of the gap. No move down to turn 1 here. As James has again back through on the straight and Arno Arc. We're going to see the same thing again, potentially. Yeah, who knows? As Energetics is closing in on the Alfa Romeo. Flip Namsram, Serial Killer and Steban are fighting once again. Serial Killer's gone back through, but I think Steban is going to benefit off the Alfa Romeo running wide. I'm just looking at the track map as well because I don't want to miss anything at the front here. Bosnia's out of it. 2 seconds is the gap to Energetics. So unless one of these gets a penalty, there is no holding that back. James Head and the Harry Noark still fighting. We're looking at the other McLaren. James has kept ahead this time. Split Ram has spun there, and he's out of the session. Oh dear, that's the absolute worst bottle I've ever seen. That's gonna mean that Energetics is gonna take home the race win. Here, should he not do the same thing? Oh dear. Oh, he's gonna be so pissed off, and rightfully so. Oh, that's a huge bottle there. I can't believe what I've seen. Energetics is gonna take home the victory here. Unfortunately, I'm gonna import because I'd like to keep my ears intact, but yeah, Energetics taking home the win ahead of Bosnia. Congrats to them too, and please, Jav, do not bottle this. He's gonna go across the line And he's going to take a podium. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Swip is going to take on P4 after penalties, because Mr. Pura is going to take P5. Steban is in P6, with Serial Killer actually getting P7. California just finishing in behind as well. P8. James has kept that position over Harry Noirk in P9 and P10. MCFC, with that penalty, is going to drop back behind. RPM Simfo, who on his debut is going to get 2 points here. And finish P11. MCFC P12, 1 point there. Major Falcon coming across the line, no points for him. Kevin Cowell not been able to take advantage of Joe Victor not being here. And then just waiting for Karakan and Ibo and Jamie Met. And honestly, with those results, I might actually be tempted to do a podium interview. What an absolutely crazy ending that was. And I'm just going to have a look at the chat. Yeah, Flip Dams, I'm saying it's a very tough and sad moment, and I get that because he was on for the win, and he honestly looked, well, at least set for a P2. Whether Energetic would have overtaken him normally, I don't know, but at the very least, a P2 was in there. I think for a lot of people, a lot was in here. We're just waiting on J-Mid to cross the line there, and that's it. It's, yeah, absolutely crazy. Crazy ending. I'm actually baffled what happened there. So, seeing Energetics takes the win here. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of baffled at what the hell happened there in the last lap. I've seen a 5-stop from Swift getting him to P4 as well. Bosnia P2, Jaff P3, Swift P4, Mr. Puro P5, Steven P6, Serial Killer P7, then Californian P8, James at P9, Harry Noirk P10, Sinful on his debut P11, MCFC P12, then Moji Falcon, Kevin Cal 14th, Karakan 15th, Ibo 16th, J-Met 17th, and no one gets the fastest lap either. Apart from him, no one gets a point. Flip Damsram, oh dear, yeah. After the last lap, DNF. He's going to be classified, but... Oh, how unfortunate. And then the two Haas's as well, DNFing earlier on. Absolutely crazy ending there. And yeah, congrats to Energetics. I'm just going to have a look what this means for the driver standing. I think Energetics will move into a first position. I'm just going to have a look if I can quickly and have my head wrapped around this. Yeah, he's going to be on 37 points. Bosnia is going to be on 28. Joe Victor on 26. And I'm just looking around as well for the guys that finished high up last time out. But I don't think anyone else is going to be in that top 3. Yeah, I'm kind of speechless in that. Great chaotic race. And yeah, I'm absolutely baffled at the ending there, I think is the right word to say. I think at that I'm gonna end off the stream though. Do need to get some hydration going because my voice is absolutely ruined. So I'm just actually, you know what? Let's get the interviews going. Yeah. I feel like it deserves one. That was an absolutely insane race, and I think we can get some interviews going. So let me see if we can get Energetics, Bosnia, and Jav in here. I'm just typing their names out. Yeah, absolutely. Congrats to them for making the right calls, staying out of the most trouble possibly, and delivering their results here, which they'll be very happy with, I'd imagine. I'm just going to add them to the group, and we'll see who joins. I'm just typing out that they can join if they want to. And we're going to have a good look as one of our podium sitters has joined for an interview. I'm just going to say this as well. Just make sure your voice is on allowed to be shared, because otherwise, obviously, no one on the stream can hear you. Going to have a quick wait. Actually, you can just start if you want right now. And with our third place finisher, must be good to hear that. Jav, how was that race for you?
I don't remember anything. It's all a blur. My pace wasn't good. I didn't practice at all for the race. I just a lap to get a setup in. We knew the rain was going to come in later in the race, so that it was going to come. It's going to dry off very quickly towards the end of the race, like the Division 1 race that we had earlier. So I think it kind of helped watching that before the race, seeing what Montana did, keeping the dry tyres through the wet, damp track. So I just said, I'll go for the mediums and then sit under the safety car under the wet and then wait for the track to dry up, and then I guess it just worked in my favour.
Yeah, it definitely did. As seen at some point as well, the rain came roughly at the same point as it did in Division 1. And I was kind of thinking to myself as well, this is basically the exact same scenario, just with the safety cars. It brought it a bit forward.
Yeah.
But in the end, I was kind of confused when you went on the mediums. I'm sure you'll see that back out on track if you watch back the stream. But then a lap later, I kind of realized when Flip and Energetics went to the softs as well, and ended up being in a good position, and it started drying up.
They were too fast for me. My pace wasn't good, but I just managed to. I was just going to I can't speak anymore. I'm shaking. I was going to hold on to P3 and then just see what would happen. Really, there was a moment where I tapped. I think it was Kevin round, or I half spun him. I just want to apologise for that. I might get penalised. I don't know. I did a lift to not overtake him, but hopefully the stewards will be nice and hope I can keep the P3. I don't know what will happen, but we'll see. It might have enough of a gap. I don't know what the gap was to P4 in the end, but maybe I might have enough of a gap to keep the P3. But you never know. Just apologies to him and GG to whoever won the race. I don't even know.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. That is a remarkable podium interview, I can't lie. As for our race winner has joined us right now, which is Energetics here, and he's just make sure your voice is on shared and that people can hear you. Obviously, that's the right.
Had that. I never changed it, so
that's good. That's good to hear. So how was that race for you? Because at the end, it seemed like you and Flip were going to have a last lap showdown. And at turn 10, you see that Alfa Romeo is spinning into the wall. And what do you think he had?
We were together in the same party, so I feel really sad for him. We were maintaining the gap to Bosnia to remain 1 and 2 at the after the rain period. And I thought, let's get closer and try attacking him in the last lap. But then he spun. I was really, really heartbroken because he deserved to win. He went last, from the start of the race. Had some incidents. So he deserved it more than me. But he practiced this kind of scenario with Mr. Wouter on D3. He practiced the same scenario what happened today. It was like one part of rain, and then the safety car came at the right spot for us. I was like, I'm going to softs, but I'm gonna test the mediums either way. So it was the right strategy call from McLaren and Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, and in the end, it has worked out for you. A bit sad for Flip, though. Yeah, if you're leading like that and having very good pace after coming back through the field, it's a bit unfortunate to see you, going back down the grid. yeah, there was a lot of chaos within that race. I think at some point I've seen like 7 different people leading. Did you have like before the rain came? Did you expect that you were still gonna be towards the front at the end, or?
No, no. I was like, my season, what I'm trying to accomplish this season is consistency. This track, China, I really hate. But on this game, it feels better, but not the best. And I really have to thank Woter again, because I didn't save my setup from time trial. So I had to have a new setup. Um, it felt good. It felt good, and I was like, yeah, P5 is good enough. And safety cars just felt right, and just trying to yeah, help myself out.
So yeah, that does make sense, and that setup seems to have worked out greatly for you. Um, I think you're into the lead of the championship right now. Uh,
Wait,
are you
what?
looking? I think with the win and the P4 was it last week that you got?
Yeah, he is.
So he's into the lead of the championship. I think on 37 points, where Bosnia is on 18 of it 28, if I'm not mistaken. So, are you looking to challenge for a title potentially?
You ask me that every year, and I say it again. I'm a bubble job. I'm gonna miss Imola and Monza. So no, I don't think I will be a contender, but I'm gonna try and score points every race I'm racing.
Well, let's hope for you that that at least is to be accomplished. And yeah, congratulations on the win, and Jav, congratulations on the third place as well.
Cheers. You won't see me here again, so don't worry about it. This will be the first and only time this season. I'll let you know that right now.
All right, all right. If you somehow end up back here, I'll bring that back. I don't think we're going to get Bosnia for an interview here, but congratulations on his second place as well. And with that, I think it's time to end the broadcast. I think you're Verstappen, and this has been Division 4 at League of Europe. Goodbye.